Okay, I just wanted to introduce an add-on that I just made for passing meshes between Blender and Meshlab and using some Meshlab scripts in the background to do some processing and then getting them back. So oftentimes you've got a mesh that you've done something with in Blender. You want to send it over here for some analysis or maybe some mesh modification. So just for an example, let's put some color on Suzanne. Okay, so just to get to this point, we'd have to file, export, then load up Suzanne in Meshlab, do our filter, apply it, then export it back, then import it back into Blender. Okay, but luckily, if you're doing a more complicated workflow, and especially if you're doing things that are repetitive, Meshlab will allow you to save a script, a set of steps. So you could save this script into your Meshlab scripts folder. Okay, so I've got one called Color Suzanne, this simple example. And then later you can actually run Meshlab in the background using Meshlab server. And that's what my add-on does. So very quickly, make sure you download the script, place it in your add-ons folder, enable it in user preferences. So there's 3 scene properties here. You want to pick your saved Meshlab script. So Color Suzanne. You need to tell it where Meshlab server the program is. It defaults to this file path, this directory. And then a temp directory where it's going to kind of export the ply format and then process it in Meshlab and then import it back in. I actually don't have it cleaning up those files yet, so that's still a to-do. Okay, so let's send Suzanne to Meshlab. Alright, there she is, looks fairly normal. If we look at it in textured mode, or better yet, vertex paint in solid mode, we can see we ended up with the same thing. We can do more complicated things. I have a remeshing script that uses Poisson reconstruction. Let's toggle the system console so we can see what's happening. Okay, so we'll send that to Meshlab. And then, as Blender will appear to be frozen, but it actually gets the information from Meshlab server somehow into the console. So now you see we have a kind of nice, except for her pierced ears, manifold mesh generated by a Poisson reconstruction. And generally that would have taken a matter of minutes to pull it into Meshlab, run all those things. Now the neat thing is that these script files are just XML, so it would be nice. There's another thread on Blender Artist right now that talks about dynamically generating properties from XML files. So if we could point this add-on to a directory of scripts and then have the send the Meshlab function actually dynamically generate properties for those scripts, so then you could tweak your the settings in the Meshlab functions via that script. Anyway, that's enough for now.